Hello recruits, welcome to the Mitt Padwork Academy. My name is Coach Garrett and I'm here to take you through this recruits course. You've made it here because you have the desire to learn how to hold the boxing mitts properly. And in this course, not only will you learn how to become an experienced pad holder, but you're going to learn valuable strategies for how to put together your own combinations into something that we call mitt flow. As a bonus, we've added in a module dedicated to drills to keep your sessions exciting and rewarding. Because at the end of the day, if you can't put your newfound skills into practice starting tomorrow, then this course has failed you. Please be sure to follow this course step by step because strong houses are built on solid foundations. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Mitt Academy for more content for you to add to your arsenal. Enjoy the course. We'll see you in Module 1. So what are the benefits of a good pad holder? Well, first and foremost, when you know what you're doing, it's going to greatly reduce the amount of injuries that you have both as a pad holder and in your athlete as the striker. Pad holding is absolutely crucial to boxing. You will see a lot of guys hitting bags and doing drills, conditioning, but nothing is going to more accurately simulate what you're going to see in a fight or a sparring session than having a great pad holder. If you're a personal trainer and you're looking to add more value to your sessions, learning how to hold the mitts is not only going to increase the value of your work, but it's going to open you up to a whole new clientele. Not only that, it's just fun, man. And it's really good to switch things up. Even if you have an athlete who's really into strength and conditioning, nothing is going to emulate what you'll get in 2 or 3 rounds of a pad work session. It's a great cardio blast, and everybody's going to have fun doing it. As a great pad holder, not only do you call out good combinations and provide instant feedback and corrections, but the way you move your athlete around more accurately simulates what you are going to see in a live session. Upon completion of the Mitt Recruits course, you will have a comprehensive understanding of how to properly hold the pads for novice to experienced boxers. You will also learn the Mitt combo system that will allow you to put together your own mitt flows. As a bonus, we have included effective drills to increase the value of your sessions. After you complete this course, you will understand the technical aspects for how to hold mitts in boxing sessions. You will also have a framework for a punch numbering system that covers the most common punches thrown in boxing. We will cover defense, counters, and corrections to make sure that you have a firm grasp on all aspects of boxing. You will also learn valuable drills that you can start implementing into your sessions immediately to take out all the guesswork. With these new skills, not only will you be able to teach beginning level boxers, but you're going to improve your own skills in the process. If you are currently training at a boxing facility, you have no doubt already encountered having to hold mitts for a partner. This course will give you the tools that you need to feel more confident when you're holding mitts to give your partner the good workout that they deserve. This course will give you the tools that you need to be confident when it's your turn to hold the mitts. You will also learn how to put together combinations that are dynamic and exciting. This is something that we call mitt flow. And by the end of this course, you'll be tasked with creating and submitting your own unique mitt flow. This course includes the Mitt combo system, a well laid out framework of combos and commands that will allow you to string together an unlimited amount of combinations that you can implement into your own mitt flow. If you are a coach or a personal trainer, this course will be a complete guide for you to teach your clients the sweet science of boxing. The demand for boxing is at an all-time high, and adding Mittwork to your skill set can increase the value of your sessions and attract new clientele. Now that we understand what you'll get out of this course, we'll see you guys in the next video. If you've seen Mittwork on social media or TV before, you'll have most likely seen an experienced boxer throwing together long combinations, defending shots, and throwing counters in a high-paced, exciting, dynamic way. Padwork is one of the most rewarding aspects of boxing except for competing. The Mitt Recruits course is all about teaching you the basic fundamentals in how to hold boxing mitts, but that doesn't mean we can't start thinking about how to create your own combinations. By the end of this course, you'll be tasked with creating and submitting your own unique mitt flow. This mitt flow will be a minimum of 12 punches and 3 defensive maneuvers, all of which we will cover in future modules. Please follow us at Mittfit Academy on Instagram for more examples and ideas for how to create your own Mitt flow. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next video. Mittfit was built around 4 basic principles that we call the FIT method. These 4 principles can be applied as a framework for coaching your athlete and adding depth to your sessions. All of these principles should be considered in your sessions, but they're laid out in a progressive order, starting at form and culminating at technique. Depending on the experience of your athlete, you should aim to focus on 1 or 2 principles per session. Increasing the knowledge in form, intensity, and timing will overall improve technique in your athlete. The more you reinforce the first 3 principles, the more technique you will see from your athlete. So let's break down the specifics of each principle in the next video. The first principle of the FIT method is form. And form means that we are always teaching situational awareness and increasing the efficiency of your athlete. If you want to learn how to box, then I'm assuming you want to look like you know how to box. Proper form starts in the fight stance and translates all the way to speed and power. The form principle applies to both the athlete and the pad holder. Proper form is crucial for increasing technique and reducing injuries. A pad holder should know the correct way to hold pads, not only to reduce the risk of injury, but to encourage and develop good habits in your boxer regarding targeting and movement. Let's move on to the next principle, intensity. The second principle of the FIT method is intensity. A crucial part of being a great mitt holder is the energy and intensity that you bring into every session. The intensity can be modified by the speed at which you're throwing punches, the power of the punches that you're throwing, and the intervals in which you're throwing combinations. Pushing an athlete to make it to the bell and also knowing when to take it down a notch is a crucial part of the Mittfit system. Encouragement and excitement is what separates a great pad holder from an average one. So let's head into the next video where we're going to talk about the next principle, timing. The third principle of the FIT method is timing. And timing is just as, if not more important for the pad holder than the athlete. Timing is a more advanced concept that focuses on making sure the pad holder's cues are called at the appropriate time for the athlete to understand, as well as matching the speed and potential of the athlete. Timing can also be used to build on the previous 2 principles, form and intensity. By ensuring that the athlete's form is on point, they can throw with more speed and intensity. If the athlete throws too fast or too slow, it can detract from the rewarding experience of throwing the strikes. And timing can be most important when we get into defense. If you're unrealistically throwing the defensive maneuvers, it can cause the sequence to slow down and build up frustration in the athlete. This can cause them to forget the sequence or focus too much on the defense that the form suffers. If the athlete gets used to the tempo and the timing at which you're throwing the defensive maneuvers, it can put them on autopilot and therefore reinforce bad habits. We want them to be able to read what's coming and throw the defense when necessary, including the counters and the overall techniques. In the next video, we'll move on to the final principle, which is technique. The fourth principle in the FIT method is technique, and only after perfecting the first 3 principles should you move on to focusing on technique. Technique includes the proper form and body positioning of a punch. It also includes the proper intensity to make sure that a combo is not too sloppy from exhaustion or too light to be effective. Technique is also about the perfect timing and footwork to make a combination as effective as possible. Bruce Lee famously said, "Fear not the man who knows 1,000 kicks, but the man who has thrown 1 kick 1,000 times." Until you understand the proper form, intensity, and timing of the punches and combinations, you will not understand the full concept of technique. And that is the 4 principles of the FIT method. We'll see you guys in the next video. All right, recruits, in this video, we're gonna talk about the type of pads that you should consider before making your first purchase. Now, there's a lot of options out there if you look for boxing mitts or focus mitts, but I just wanna talk about some of the most common and what I like, love, and hate about all of the examples. Now first I just want to talk about basics, being pricing. So how much should you spend on a pair of focus mitts? Now the first propensity I think for people is to go on Amazon and look for boxing mitts and maybe buy the cheapest pair that you can. I would really advise you guys against this. There's a lot of mitts out there you'll find for like $30, $40, and the quality is just terrible. They're gonna start to hurt your hands, elbows, joints, and extremities. So I'd really stay away from those cheap ones and opt to spend about $50 or more when you're selecting your pads. So I'm gonna show you some of these basic boxing and a little bit of kickboxing pads, just so you guys have an idea and understanding of what the pads are. So first up is gonna be the smallest ones that I like to call micro mitts. Focus mitts, boxing mitts is a common term, but this is a micro mitt by Everlast. So Everlast is the company that you guys will see a lot. They're available at a lot of large box retailers, and they're pretty decent quality. They do tend to fall apart pretty quickly in my own experience. Not the biggest fan of the brand specifically, but what I do like about these micro mitts is they're nice and small, and they're very good for accuracy. So if you have a very fast, light, or very experienced boxer, these are really good because they're gonna teach that accuracy and timing. If you have someone who's just starting out, or maybe a little bit more of a power puncher, the micro mitts might just not be enough mitt for what you guys really need out of your sessions. So these are micro mitts. Next up, we'll have your standard focus mitt. So when we compare these to the micro mitts, just a little bit larger, they cover a little bit more surface area. Now this is a focus mitt by Hayabusa, which is one of the top brands in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. I've always had really good experiences with Hayabusa stuff, strongly recommend. So the PTS3 right here is a focus mitt, pretty standard size for what you'll see. This particular one has air pocket technology, so it gives a nice little rewarding pop when you are with your boxer. So I highly, strongly recommend having that air pocket technology. I think it takes a little bit of the shock out of the punches and gives like a nice little snappiness, and it makes the pad nice and light. So it just takes away some of that fatigue if you guys are holding pads for long periods of times or many days a week. So that is your standard focus mitt, and that's a size that you'll see most often. Now next up would be kind of a large air mitt or cellular technology. This one right here is done by Venom, which happens to be one of my favorite and most recommended brands. You guys will see, I believe, a link to that stuff on my website, but highly recommend Venom. This is their cellular technology mitt. As you can see, it's a much larger mitt when we compare it to something like a standard focus mitt here, just in size and depth, or even more disparity when we're looking at kind of those micro mitts. So much bigger surface area. What I also really love about these mitts is they offer a wrist protection. So this is gonna come in handy, especially against those heavy hitters. When I have big guys that are hitting the mitts, I definitely prefer to use these large mitts. These ones also have that cellular technology, so there's some foam padding in there, which kind of reduces and absorbs the impact from the punches. Now you'll see that a lot of these that I showed you, but specifically these, have a nice covering of your fingers. Always recommend doing this versus open-handed mitts, because when you are throwing punches back at your athlete or throwing those defensive maneuvers, we just don't want to catch anybody with a finger poke in the eye. So kind of having these closed hands, always what I recommend when you're looking for pads. So that's an example of one of the larger air pocket pads. This one done by Venom with the cellular technology. Now moving on from boxing a little bit, just so you guys are familiar, this is an example of a Thai pad. Now these are normally used for kickboxing and Thai techniques. You'll see that they have kind of a large forearm area and have a very large surface area, which makes them really good for kicks. You can do punches on these as well. Some people do kind of prefer this. It makes you kind of have that A-frame position, and it's going to have a large striking area. If you do want to throw some kicks, we will have future courses for you guys to learn kickboxing and Muay Thai. But for now, just so you're aware of what a Thai pad looks like, I would probably, for the purposes of this course, stick to something in the boxing realm like the focus mitt. And then we also have belly protectors. Now this is something that can be really good when you want to take that level up just a little bit. So this is going to provide a nice little surface striking area to the body. So when we're using those punch numbering systems 7 through 10, all those shots to the body, having a good belly pad can really help protect you and take some of that shock from taking those shots to your mitts. Now we'll also have some drills in the bonus module that will be highly beneficial to have yourself a belly protector. There's a few different options of that. This is a traditional Thai style, but just things for you guys to check out. So I hope that was useful to you guys. I hope you have a little bit of an idea of what pads you should purchase. If you guys want any more information, be sure to check the links out on the site, and we'll send you some good examples of pads that you guys can use, and we'll see you in the next video. Welcome to the second module of the MitFit Recruits course. Now that we have a better understanding of the MitFit principles, it's time to go to work. In this module, we're going to take a deep dive into how to properly hold the pads. Welcome everybody to Module 2. I am here with my friend Sally.
What's up, guys?
She's going to be our athlete for today, and she's going to be standing in to help show us some proper technique and distancing for how to hold the pads properly. So the first topic I want to discuss, and what this video is dedicated to, is going to be what we call the A-frame. So I'm going to show you how to correctly hold the pads in the A-frame, and then I'm going to show you some examples of bad pad holding so you guys have something to compare it to. So the A-frame is when we hold the pads and our forearms in an A shape. The pads will come up near our chin, elbows will be slightly turned out to the sides. So I'm going to show you how to execute the A-frame properly, and then we're going to show you some examples of bad pad holding and what it looks like when you operate outside of the A-frame. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the basic straight punches, the jab and the cross, which we will delve into deeper in further modules. For now though, I'm just going to have Sally throw me a basic jab cross while I have these pads in the A-frame. So let's go ahead, jab cross. Boom. Awesome. One more time, please. Great. All right, so the A-frame keeps her in the correct position to throw these straight punches. I'm going to have her freeze on the cross, and then we can talk about the alignment so you guys really see why the A-frame is beneficial. So let's throw that jab cross and freeze on the cross, okay? Here we go. Jab cross. Great. So now we can see the connection. Sally has full extension with her punch, and her glove is as close to my chin as could possibly be without hitting it. And that's exactly what I want to teach my athlete, is great accuracy. And this is why the A-frame is crucial. So now that we've covered the basic straight punches, it's time to talk about our hooks. So a lot of natural tendencies for pad holders is to have an unrealistic target for the hook and hold it too far away from their body. Instead of reaching out for the hook, I want to keep that A-frame in place by picturing almost a sphere around me, and this is going to be that strike zone. So for the hooks, all I'm doing is just slightly turning the angle of my pad to give her a great target for the hook while keeping it realistic. So let's show off the jab cross hook with proper technique on holding the pads. Jab cross hook. Good. One more time. Good. So let's have her freeze on the hook and show you why the A-frame is so beneficial to correct target practice for our hooks. All right, we're gonna throw the jab cross hook and freeze on the hook. Here we go. Awesome. So now as you can see, she has perfect alignment in her hook. Again, something we can delve further into in later modules, but you can also see her positioning is very good. She's straight up in the air, and I'm not forcing her to rock back or to come forward into her body weight. Great, thank you. So now that we've seen that, let's show some bad examples of the straights and the hooks. So the first thing I want to show you is a tendency for people to put their arms out too far to the side. Now the reason this is bad is because it puts a lot of bad stress on our shoulder joint, but it also gives a very unrealistic target for our athlete. And I'm going to show you a bad example of the straights. So we're going to throw the jab cross with the hands all the way out to the side. Here we go. Jab cross. Not only does it look terrible, but you can see when I'm having Sally here throw a jab out to the side, now when I take that away, it's very unrealistic that she's gonna hit anything. So instead of teaching bad habits, again, we're gonna keep with the A-frame. Now a bad example of hooks would be, like I said, reaching in too far. And if I do that after a jab cross, we're gonna see where her positioning is. So let's do that same jab cross hook and freeze on the hook with a bad placement, okay? So we're gonna go jab cross hook. Good. Now you can see that Sally's weight is on her back foot. Now in some cases this is a really good thing for a hook, but in most cases when holding pad, we don't want her to be in a compromised angle. So getting back to it, A-frame, we're going to keep it nice and tight. Let's just show a good example of that jab cross hook. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so the next two punches we want to discuss are the uppercuts. Once again, keeping that concept of the A-frame or the sphere. When I'm holding my uppercuts, I'm just gonna turn and angle down my pad. This is gonna replicate my chin length or chin height, so that once again, my athlete Sally here can make a really solid landing on the uppercut. So we're just gonna go lead uppercut, rear uppercut, all right? Awesome, one more. Pop, pop. Good, one more. Awesome. All right, guys, so we're gonna show you how this works in real time. Pay attention to how I'm holding the pads and notice how little I'm actually moving the pads to replicate a good target from my athlete Sally here. So we're gonna go jab, cross hook, rear uppercut, lead uppercut. Here we go. Uppercut at the end, you're good. Jab, cross hook, upper, upper. There we go, one more. Pop, 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 pop. There we go, one more. Ish, ish, ish. Huh, good. Yeah, just like that. Jab, cross hook, up, up. There we go, one more. Up, 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 up. Nice. So I just want to show you real quick how the A-frame looks in action. We're just going to throw a basic combo here, jab, cross, hook, cross, and we'll circle around just a little bit so you can pay attention to where my placement on the pads are and also pay attention to the distance that I'm keeping Sally at. So here we go, jab, cross, hook, cross, and move. Good. Nice. All right, guys. There you have it. That is the A-frame. Pay attention to all those little details. Be sure to review this as many times as possible so you get the hang of it, and we'll see you in the next chapter. All right, so another great example of how not to hold the pads is reaching too far in to your athlete. And this is a natural tendency for most people because they kind of shy away from the punches and they want to put the pads out really far away from their body. So that's just something that you're going to need to get over. I'm going to show you some examples. We're going to have Sally just throw the jab, cross, hook, cross, and we'll see what it looks like when my hands are too far out of position. All right, here we go. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Right away, you're going to see how poor that looks. Not only is it bad for my shoulders and my elbows by keeping at full extension, but I'm really compromising her position and I'm not teaching her how to fully extend her punches. So if I have her just throw a jab cross and freeze on the cross, we're gonna take a look at why this is a poor mechanic. So let's do a bad example of a rush jab cross. So we're gonna go jab cross. Good, so now you'll notice compared to our last demo there, Sally doesn't have full extension of her arm and she doesn't have full rotation of her hip. Something we'll delve into a little deeper when we go into the big 6 punch breakdowns, but this is not what we want to see out of our athlete. It's time to discuss chasing the punch versus catching the punch. So this entire video is going to be dedicated to the difference and why you should always catch a punch and never chase a punch. So I think it's first important to understand what that means. What's catching a punch? What's chasing a punch? I'm going to show you what that looks like. So when Sally's throwing punches, my job as a pad holder is to catch those punches. What that means is I'm in a good position and I'm giving just a little resistance so that she can get full extension of the punch and great feedback. So when I catch a punch, there's just a small, maybe 1 to 2 inch movement of that contact. And you'll hear it in the pads. It's that sweet spot. You guys are gonna hear some nice pops. So I'm gonna have Sally throw a basic jab cross with a little bit of intensity and speed. And we're gonna show how a good catch is gonna lead to a nice pop in the pads. So let's go for it. Jab cross with some good catches. Here we go. Good again. Good again. One more. Awesome. All right. So as you can see, catching the punch, not a lot of movement on my end. She's going 90%, I'm going 10%. Now I'm gonna show you how not to do it, and that is what we call chasing the punch. So chasing is a movement where I'm trying to get ahead of it and I'm kind of swatting down the punch. And there's a lot of reasons this is bad. Going back to the A-frame, it's really not good for posture, shoulders, elbows, joints, all that stuff, but it's doing a horrible job of teaching her distance and really just taking all the technique and proper form out of all of her punches. So we're gonna throw that same jab cross, and I'm gonna chase it. And you might see Sally actually trying to back away from me to adjust. If you see your boxer or athlete backing up a lot, that's a good probably indicator that you're chasing that punch. So let's go ahead and throw that jab cross, and I'm gonna chase you with them. All right, here we go. Yeah, good, again. Awesome, great job. So common examples of chasing the punch is going to be in the Mayweather-Mitt system. If you guys are at all familiar with Floyd Mayweather and you've watched any of his pad work or maybe heard some critiques about what he's doing, you'll notice there's a lot of chasing happening where the pad holder is doing more like 90% and the athlete is only doing 10%. Now there are some applications to this. The Mayweather-Mitt system is built on defense, and that's something we're going to delve into in further courses. But just know that as a beginner and as just a rule of thumb, you are always catching a punch and we're never chasing a punch. Cool. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next video. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be discussing the fight stance and how to hold the pads for your fighter to mirror the fight stance and looking at their shoulder height so we know exactly where to hold the pads to give the best feedback. So first thing we want to talk about the fight stance. We have Coach D here to help us out.
What's up? What's up?
All right, and he's a right-handed fighter, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so right-handed fighter, he's gonna put his left foot in front. He's gonna put that right foot in back for me. We want about a shoulder width stance, and we're gonna be in what we call the half-man position here. So when I'm standing square, I present my full body. I don't wanna do that in boxing. I wanna become a smaller target, which is why we're gonna drop that right foot back and slightly tilt our left shoulder forward. Now we're gonna keep a soft bend in the knees so that we can always punch through. Every punch starts from the ground and goes right up to the top of the punch. He's gonna have his hands up by his cheekbones at all times, kind of staring down the barrel of his gun here. Elbows stay tucked in nice and tight. We don't want those to flare out like chicken wings because then he's gonna expose his body to us. So we wanna keep this nice fight stance. You can see he's bouncing back and forth. So he's always ready to transfer his body weight from the front to the back. Now if he were a left-handed fighter, what we call southpaw, we would just reverse this exactly. So his right foot is in front, left foot's in back. As you can see, hands stay up nice and high, elbows stay tucked in nice and tight. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for checking this out. Here we are back in the orthodox position to discuss where we should be holding the pads. So we have different heights of our fighters. Some might be shorter, some might be taller. As you can see, me and D here are pretty level up, but what I'm looking for is his shoulder line. So if he's a shorter fighter, maybe he's a little shorter, smaller, I'm gonna be looking at that shoulder line as well where I wanna hold my pads. If he's a little bit taller and I'm a little shorter, I'm gonna wanna hold those pads up just a little bit higher. What this is gonna do is teach good techniques for how to throw straight punches. So again, I'm looking at his shoulder line. If I ask him for the jab, I'm gonna hold it right there at the shoulder level so he's got a nice straight punch. Now if I get into the habit of holding the pads up too high and asking for that jab, I'm teaching bad habits. He's punching up and working a lot harder. Now this may be appropriate if you're getting your fighter ready to fight someone taller or shorter. You might want to replicate that by holding the pads at different levels, but for the most part, I'm going to be holding my pads at his shoulder level. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for checking this out. So if my fighter is a southpaw fighter with their right foot forward, at first it's going to be real tricky, but if I keep my orthodox position, when I ask him to throw the jab, he's going to have to really kind of overextend that jab, and when I do the cross next, I'm going to shorten his cross. So here I'm giving him some bad habits and bad techniques. So it's my duty as the pad holder to try to replicate his position, meaning I have to put my right foot forward in the southpaw stance, and now when I ask for that jab, it's nice and clean, and I have room for that cross. Good, so really important here that we always are mirroring our fighter's fight stance, and we're always taking a look at their shoulder level to make sure that we're holding the pads in our A-frame in the proper position. And that is how to properly hold the pads depending on the fight stance for your fighter. So here we are to discuss calls and cues. It's very important as a pad holder that you keep your athlete on point by knowing when to properly call out the combination that you want and the cues so your fighter gets used to knowing what you want and when you want it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is calling. In this case, we're just going to use our basic punch names. We're going to introduce you to the punch numbering system really soon, where you learn the concepts of calling out the 1 or the 2 or the 3. But in this case, we're just going to start by calling the punches by their name. So my call, first off, is going to be the jab. So I have my fighter lined up. We're in our position. I'm going to have my mitts down, and we're going to segue right into cues. When I flash my pads, that means I want her to throw the punch. So first off, my call is going to come. I'm going to say jab. When I'm ready for her to throw the jab, I'm going to flash my pads. She's going to throw the jab, come right back to her fight stance. She's always ready to go. Anytime we're in our session, when the bell's on and the round is live, the fighter's in their fight position and always ready to go. So we're going to start it off with the jab, showing you the cues by keeping the hands down and the calls as we go through it. So here we are. We start with the jab. Good. Jab. Jab. Good. And if I notice she's getting a little close, I might move her back a little bit. Reposition her. Make sure she's in good distance. Next call is going to be the jab cross. Good. Jab cross. Good. Jab cross. Awesome. All right, we're going to step things up a little bit. We're going to go jab cross hook. Here we go, Adrian. Jab cross hook. Good. Jab cross hook. Good. Jab cross hook. Good. She's ready. I can position her, make sure she's good. Her hands are up. Now here's where it gets a little more complicated. I'm going to have her go to a 4-punch combination. Instead of saying jab, cross, hook, cross, I'm just going to ask her to add the cross. So we've already done the jab, cross, hook. She knows in her head that we're progressing. So I'm going to say add the cross. So I'm going to start you at the jab, cross, hook and show you what this looks like in real time. So here we go. Let's go back to that jab, cross, hook. Back, back. Good. Add the cross. Good. One more time. Awesome. Great. And that's a great example of proper timing to call and how you use your pads to cue them up. So you'll also notice that we did a little repositioning. That is a cue. If I notice that she's in too close or in the wrong position, I'm just going to gently grab her hands like this and move her where I want her. As I work with my athlete a little bit more, she'll start to understand what I expect from her and what she's doing wrong. So this is a great cue. Just when you put your hands out to the side like this, she should know that some corrective action is coming. And that's another good cue to make sure that they're in position and always in proper alignment. Good, so now that we have an understanding of those calls and cues, and we had 4 combinations that we went through as we progressed, I'm going to show you guys how to chunk together combos, something that we're going to talk a little bit about more in future modules, but for now it might be a good idea to keep this in mind. So we're going to use the example we just did. Combo 1 was the jab. I had her add the cross, the jab cross. That's combo 2. Combo 3 will be jab cross hook. Combo 4, jab cross hook cross. Really simple one on this one. But basically, this is going to make it a lot faster for me to give those calls. So we can move a little bit quicker. And I'm also going to show you how we would really circle each other in a real session to simulate what's going to happen in a real fight. So we're going to go right into this round. She's going to be in her fight stance, ready to go. She knows the 4 combos. And I'm going to move her around. Maybe I reposition her if she's too close. I'm going to circle her just to keep her honest. So here we go. We're in our position. I'm ready. I'm circling. She's watching where I'm at. Combo 1. Good. Moving. Good. And 3. Good. 2. Good. I might circle the other way. 1. Good. 4. Good. 3. Good. And 2. Awesome job, Adrian. And there you have it. That's a great example of how to use calls, cues, and combo chunking effectively to get a good rhythm with you and your athlete as you're starting this journey into the Mitt Recruits course. Catch you in the next video. Can't wait. All right, recruits, and welcome to the Mitt punch numbering system. This system is a framework for you guys to use to call out punches on the fly. Most gyms are going to use some type of numbering system because it's a lot more efficient to use numbers than words. So instead of calling out jab, jab, cross, hook, it's much easier to say 1, 1, 2, 3. We're going to cover the Mitt combo system, which is going to make that even easier for you guys to call out your cues. But first, let's talk about the Mitt numbering system. So it's commonly agreed that there's 6 basic punches in boxing, starting with the jab and ending with the rear uppercut. These are numbered 1 through 6 sequentially. So number 1 is going to be the jab or the lead hand. Assuming you're right-handed, that's going to be your left hand. So the jab, number 1, cross, number 2, or the straight right hand. After that, we move on to hooks. Number 3 is that lead hook. Number 4, the rear hook, and then onto the uppercuts. 5 is the lead uppercut. 6 is the rear uppercut. And those are the most commonly used punches in the 1 through 6 method. Now in the Mitt system, we've also added in level changes to take you to 10 total punches. So a really common shot in boxing is also the body hook, sometimes known as the liver shot when it's on the lead side. So after we move from 6, the rear uppercut, we're gonna go on to number 7, which is gonna be that lead liver shot, sometimes called the shovel hook as well. To match that, number 8 will be on the right side. That's the body hook with the right. This is a spleen shot, can also be just as effective, a little harder to land, but it is a punch that is thrown sometimes. And then moving on to the final, 9 and 10, that's gonna be 9, the jab to the body, and then 10, the cross to the body. So in this module, we're gonna go ahead and break down all the techniques involved in those specific punches, and we'll have a detailed document for you guys to download so you can keep in mind those 10 basic punches. All right, let's get into this course and learn the Mitt numbering system. Number 1 is going to be the most important punch in boxing, and that is the jab. So whenever I call out the number 1, I'm asking for Sally to throw a nice jab for me. Now, a little counterintuitive for first-time pad holders is when she throws her left hand, I actually want to hold my left hand up to catch the punch. So let's just do about 3 jabs to see what it looks like. Here we go. Jab, good. More. Good. All right. Now, a lot of people think because it's on her left side that I want to hold this pad up for the jab, which you can do, and we will talk about this in future modules and possibly courses on how to hold the jab with your right hand. But what I'm trying to do is, once again, get that target practice nice for Sally. So I want her to come across towards the chin. So when I'm right here, now she's in great position to throw that jab. So a couple things we look for in the jab is full extension. I want to make sure when she hits, so hit and freeze for me, that she has a nice straight punch and her shoulders are rotated. Let's go ahead and freeze right there for me for a second. Now if I come around, I see her right shoulder's turned back and her guard hand is up nice and high and her body is rotated. I'm going to have Sally here throw about 5 jabs for me and we'll move around a little bit. So here we go with the jab. The jab sets the tone for every other punch because it is your yardstick. It measures for everything else. And more importantly, it sets up our power shot, which is the next video, the number 2, the cross. All right, so the number 2 is the straight cross. And this is indeed a power punch. It's a knockout shot. And once you've perfected the jab, the cross is the next punch in the Mitt numbering system, also called the number 2. So let's show 3 good crosses for the crowd here. Good. 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 And punch and freeze. Awesome. Now what I'm looking for out of my athlete here is, once again, just like the jab, a nice straight extension on that punch. And you see how her shoulders are rotated, her hips are square, all that power is coming from the ground up. And I'm really looking for this pivot on her back heel. That heel coming off the ground is where the power starts, and it goes all the way up to the chain to the very tip of the cross. Great. We want to make sure when we're throwing good straight crosses, we see the pivot, we see the squaring of the hips, but I want to talk really quick on how the 1 feeds in the 2. So I'm going to have Sally here throw that jab cross for me so we can see the distancing and how important the jab is to really set that measurement. So let's just throw a nice jab, 2. Awesome, again. Good, 1, 2. Now I'm going to throw things up a little bit here and I'm going to crowd her jab. I'm going to crowd that number 1 so you can see that it's a bad position for the number 2, all right? So if the jab lands right here, now she's going to throw the cross and she's not at full extension. So if I, as a pad holder, am in a bad position and I crowd her jab, it's not a good cross. It's not turned over. Now, how this applies to a real fight is that if you have a pressure fighter that's always walking in on you, you need to keep them out of range with the jab. If you start with a bad jab, you're going to end with a bad cross. And that is the basic concept of the number 2, the straight cross. All right, so now we move on to the number 3, which is the lead hook. Assuming that we're all right-handed out there, that's going to be the left hook. For any of you southpaws, just go ahead and reverse my directions. But we're going to talk about the lead hook, which in a right-handed athlete is the left side. So a couple cues I'm looking for in the hook is elbows up, okay? A common mistake people make is not bringing their elbow up high enough. So I'm gonna have Sally here just show a couple good shadow box hooks. Let's go 2 facing me and then face the camera and throw 2, all right? So here we go. Good, and again, good. And go ahead and turn and face the camera so they can see that nice hook. Good. One more time and freeze. Good. Awesome. So you can see her elbows up nice and high. It's parallel with her chin. She has her guard, her chin is tucked, and her hand is in a nice position. I like to think of this as the espresso cup. Good, thank you, Sally. So when I say the espresso cup, I like to think of kind of holding that espresso. So we're getting ready for it. Our hand is in. When we're throwing close hooks, we like to keep it like this, and the elbow isn't down here. It's up nice and tight, protecting our shoulder. Now, another thing I like to do is imagine a straight line from my nose to my knuckles. That way the hook is never going ahead of my face or lagging behind my face. Instead, I want to keep this laser focus, whereas I'm turning, the hook comes with my body, because the hook, if anything, is less of an arm punch and more of a body punch. So let's throw a couple hooks in real time and see what that lead hook looks like. This is the number 3, the lead hook. Here we go. Pop. Good. Again. Again. Good. One more. Pop. Here we go. Pop. Nice. Pop. One more. Pop. Good. All right. And that is the number 3, or the lead hook. All right, so after the 3, we move to the 4, which is nice and easy. It's gonna be the rear hook. The mechanics of this are identical to the left hook and actually identical to the cross. So let's just go ahead and do a couple rear hooks or number 4. Good, one more. Good, now I'm gonna have Sally throw a cross, and I want you to pay attention to her position. Here we go, 2. Awesome. Full rotation, torque, expression in the hips, and I'm gonna have her throw a 4 now for me, and freeze. Boom. Good. As you can see, the alignment is pretty much the same. The only thing that changes is the trajectory of the punch. Thank you very much, Sally, and that is the number 4. So the modification we can make on that is the overhand right, okay? Now when we're throwing the overhand, this is a very powerful punch, guys, and this can lead to a lot of injuries when thrown incorrect. So I want you to picture thumb down like you're lobbing a grenade. So the overhand's gonna come over the top, the thumb comes first, and we still hit with those 2 big knuckles as with all our punches. Feel comfortable with this one? Let's go. All right. So the 4 overhand. When I hold the pad for just a rear hook, I'm gonna be right here in my A-frame and just ask for the hook, right? When I want to overhand, all I'm gonna do is kind of tilt that back a little bit, signifying that it's an overhand punch. And now she's gonna come with that nice, powerful overhand right up top like this. There we go. One more time for me. Good, awesome. One more and freeze. Boom, there we go. As you can see, her elbow's up a lot higher now. She's clearing the distance, clearing the target, and that is the overhand, number 4, all right? So that's a slight variation we might get into, but I just want you guys to be aware that that is an option. So now that we've covered 1 through 4, the straights and the hooks, it's time to move to the 5 and the 6, which are the uppercuts. So the 5 is gonna be the lead or left uppercut, and the 6 is gonna be the rear uppercut. Let's show them a couple 5s for me. Boom, good, one more. Boom, good, one more. Awesome. Now what I'm looking for in the uppercut is I'm looking for a small level change in her hips. A common mistake people make is that they wind up the punch too much and they just swipe up the uppercut instead of unleashing their body. So let's have Sally throw a couple bad uppercuts. Cool? Can you even do that? Are you capable? Let's go. Slap that thing. Boom, good. No movement in your body, just your hand. Yeah, perfect. Now that's a bad uppercut. Let's show it on the rear side, the number 6 as well. Bad one, yep, let's, boom, yeah. And as you can see, she has no structure behind her uppercut. So instead what I want to see is a very subtle change in her level. So she's actually bringing the power from the ground upwards. So let's go back to that number 5 and go, let's go 3 really good 5s here. Here we go. Whop, good. Whop, good. One more. Whop, good. And that's the number 5. And the 6 or the rear uppercut. Hish, good. Hish. Good, all right, there you have it, guys. All right, so now we move into number 7, which is also known as a shovel hook. It's not quite a hook, it's not quite an uppercut. Instead, we're going for the body, and the way to hold this on the pads is gonna be up to your discretion. One of the ways I like to do it is kind of tuck the pads on right here. I'm making a nice
target area for my athlete. Another one people commonly do after combos is just throwing it under their armpit. Neither one is incorrect. It just depends how you like to throw it, how tall your athlete is. For shorter athletes, you might come down a little more. For taller, you might feel more comfortable getting up under your armpit. So we're gonna go with the number 7, which is gonna be the lead shovel hook. Here we go. Let's go right in the armpit. Yep, good, one more. And let's show you the low tuck right here. Yep, one more. Awesome. So I do highly prefer the lower tuck one. I think it gives a little more torque in the punch and it feels a little bit better. But once again, keeping in mind, always the height of your athlete will make a big difference on how this goes naturally. So that feeds right into our next punch, which is the number 8, which is gonna be the rear shovel hook. Same concept here. I can either go under my armpit or I can stack the pads on top of each other. So let's just throw a couple of those here. Good, one more. Good, good, good. Nice, and that's the number 8. So you can see there's a small difference in the liver shots than there is in the hooks and the uppercuts. So after the 7 and 8 come the final 2 punches, the 9 and the 10, and these are just the jab and the cross, but thrown to the body. And the reason we go over this is because as you're creating your own mitt flows or you're calling out combinations, it becomes quite tedious to say jab to the body, cross to the body, when you can just say 7, 8, 9, or 10. So it's all about expediency and being able to get my athlete to understand the combo as fast as possible. It's good for the brain and it's good for the intensity part of the FIT program. So the 9, when I hold for this, I like to just put the pad on my belly and she's gonna hit my knuckles. She's got this nice padding on her gloves, so don't worry, it's not gonna hurt too much. Let's just show 3 nice good 9s here. Push, good. Good, one. Good, and that's the number 9. The 10 is gonna be the cross to the body. I'll keep it right here as well. Push, nice, there you go. Good, oy, good. Sally's a power puncher, I'm not gonna lie, that hurts a little bit, but it's good conditioning for you guys. I know that a lot of people tend to get a little nervous about their hand, but she's got a nice 14-ounce glove on right here. That's padding. It doesn't hurt my knuckles at all. If you don't feel confident with that, there is a way to hold for the body where we can kind of turn the pad out. The only reason I do not like to teach this is let's throw that 10, but kind of soft and slow and freeze on the bottom. So if I hold the pad like this and she throws the 10, now she's forcing my wrist to turn in a weird angle, which my wrist just doesn't want to do. And if I do have a nice powerful puncher, it's going to hurt my wrist a little bit. So it's usually much better to just take the punch right here on the belly. And that is the basic numbering system for the MittFit system 1 through 10. Thank you, Sally. We'll catch you guys in the next module.
All right, recruits, we have made it through module 3, the punch numbering system. We have now arrived at module number 4, where we're going to cover defense. So now that we understand all the punches and the concepts, form, technique behind each punch, it's time to introduce you to defensive maneuvers like parries, catches, slips, and rolls. And these are going to be integral. In fact, they're the glue that stitches together the combinations for you guys to make your mitt flow. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Module number 4, defense. The first defensive maneuver that we're going to cover is going to be slips. So I'm going to have my athlete, Coach D here, show you an example of how to slip properly. He's going to throw a jab cross for me first, and then he's going to throw his 2 slips, simulating the same movement that he does with the jab cross. Let's go ahead and throw that again, just on loop for me, please. You'll see that as he properly rotates his jab and cross, he does the same mechanics with his body without throwing the punches. So what he's doing is taking his head off center line. So if we were to square off with each other here, and I ask him to throw a jab, cross, slip, slip, we're gonna go jab, cross, I return the jab, cross, he slips his head off center line, presents his shoulder as the front line of defense, I throw the cross, he slips the other way, presents that other shoulder as the first line of defense. So that is gonna be the basic mechanic for how we throw the slips. If I want to add that into a combo, for example, we'll do jab, cross, slip, cross to show you guys a good flow for how we're going to add defense into the basic punches. So let's go jab, cross, slip, cross. All right, we'll do 3 examples for you guys, nice and slow. Jab, cross, slip, cross. Good, again. One more. Good, so you can see that as the pad holder, I'm not trying to shortchange him by throwing the punch all the way to the side or to the other side or above his head, because now he doesn't have to move his head at all. I want to come right down the line, and I'm going to throw my pad straight to his face so that he can slip off, and I'm making sure that I'm just touching his shoulder nice and easy for this example, and he can come right back and load up on that cross nice and simple for me. So slips are all about rotations. Slips are all about getting your head off center line. These are a very clean, basic defense that you should always start with whenever you're teaching your athlete defensive maneuvers. We'll catch you guys in the next video where we're going to discuss more about rolls. Next up is going to be the roll. So the roll is a little bit different than the slip. The slip is in the hips, as I like to say. So if I got D here just showing me slips back and forth, just keep going with that for me. You'll notice that a lot of hip movement is in this. There's not too much engagement in the legs. It's an upper body defensive maneuver with the intention of bringing your head off center line if I'm throwing straight punches. But what's going to happen if I throw a hook his way? We're going to try this one out real quick. I'm going to ask him for a jab cross and a slip, but I'm going to throw a hook at him this time, all right? So we're going to go jab cross. I'm going to have him slip, but I throw the hook. Now, as you notice, he leaned right into my shot. Not a good thing in boxing. Not something we ever want to do. So instead, we're going to learn rolls, which in essence is a ducking maneuver to roll under those hooks. So if I'm throwing a hook at my fighter, slipping off the center line isn't going to get your head out of the way. Instead, we want to change the level with our head. So I'm going to have D here facing the camera for you guys, show you how a roll works. And I want you to think about the shape he's making with his head. We like to teach it as a U, so let's go ahead and throw a couple rolls for him here. Good. So you can see he's making a U shape with his head. His legs are engaged. He's doing a squat position. Now the next thing I want to discuss about the roll maneuver is that it's what we call the loading defensive maneuver as well. So every time I'm rolling, I'm secretly loading up the next punch. So if I'm not rotating my shoulders when I'm rolling, let's show them a couple rolls with no rotation. Yeah, it's hard to do, isn't it? All right, this is a common error that beginners make when they're rolling, is they're not rotating their shoulders. So as we discussed, rotation is one of the 4 key factors in every punch that you throw. So when D takes a roll here, he's going to load his shoulders by rotating, so he's ready to throw that left hook. If he rolls to the right, he's loading up his shoulders, so he's ready to throw a hard cross or maybe a rear hook. The point here is after every roll, you're putting your shoulders in position to execute the next maneuver. So let's show a great example of this. We're gonna go basic combination, jab cross. He's gonna roll under my lead hook and come right up with a cross hook. So we'll go nice and slow. We'll give you 3 examples. Jab cross, roll, cross hook. Jab cross, roll, cross hook. One more time. Pay attention on this one. As he rolls out, he's loading up that cross. After the cross, he's loaded for the lead hook. Jab, cross. He rolls, cross, hook. I want to talk about a few other valuable cues when discussing rolls. You'll see his back leg here. I like to think of it like a rudder. He's changing the angle of his back knee, and that's going to dictate which way he's rolling and how he's rolling. You'll also notice that his eyes are focused. He's not staring down at the ground. Let's show him a couple examples of bad rolls that we see commonly. Yeah, so leading with the head, taking your eye off the mark. You never want to face down. Let's show you why. Let's square on up. I'm going to have you throw a jab cross and a bad roll. And I'm going to give you an uppercut just to check it, all right? So I'm going to show you a bad example of a roll and why we don't want to do it. So I'm going to have D here throw a jab cross and then roll under the hook. So we're jab cross, you're going to roll under. Boom, I'm gonna tap him right in the head right there. You can see that he has no focus, no awareness of where it is. Now let's show a good roll. Jab, cross, roll under. Boom, boom, boom. His head is gone, his head is there. His eyes are on the prize, and now he's ready to throw that cross for me nice and strong. So again, when discussing rolls, we are looking to keep our eyes focused on the target. We're keeping that nice square stance, and we're rolling using the legs, eyes on the prize. And that is the basic concept of the roll. When paired with the slip, the roll is one of the 2 main defensive maneuvers that you guys will be using mostly to make your mitt flows. We'll see you in the next video where we'll get into some more advanced concepts like the pull. We're back to discuss another defensive maneuver. I'm here with Coach D.
What's up, what's up?
And we're gonna go over the catch. All right, so the catch is one of my favorites, and it's actually most realistic. It's a defensive maneuver that, to be honest, you're gonna take a little bit of damage with. So as the pad holder, just be respectful to your athlete. Make sure that you're not throwing full force with the catches. But sometimes it's not realistic to throw a roll when a hook is coming my way. So the catch can be really effective for hooks, but I'm gonna first discuss how we use the catch in the uppercut scenario. So slips and rolls, pulls are basically useless when we're doing infighting or body fighting, especially with uppercuts. The only way we can protect those uppercuts is by doing what we call the catch. So to appropriately throw the catch, what we're gonna do is in our fight stance, as we talked about, his elbows staying nice and clean. So if he keeps his elbows up in the sky, he's got a good target here. I'm just gonna start working the body throwing uppercuts. So when we talk about the catch, what he's trying to do is catch my shot using the meaty part of his forearm, maybe a little bit of the elbow and a little bit of the base of the bicep. Now he's gonna roll with the punch a little bit so he can absorb some of the shock. Let's just show you a few examples if I throw my rear uppercut of the catch. So we're here, boom, he's gonna catch it nice and tight. Good, again, good. One more, boom, and freeze. And you're gonna notice how he's turned his body into this little bit. That's gonna take away some of the shock. If you were to try to lean into the uppercut, for example, boom, now all that power is going right up into his belly. So we wanna make sure that we're kind of rolling with the punch a little bit when we throw the catch. It's gonna work the same on the right side. If I throw the lead uppercut, he's gonna pivot just like he's throwing a cross or a slip to the left side, and he's gonna catch that uppercut. Good, nice and easy. Good. So on the other side, if I'm throwing my lead uppercut, the catch is gonna work the same way. His body mechanic is gonna be almost identical to throwing a cross, but since we're infighting and he can't land the punch and he's trying to absorb that uppercut, he's just gonna rotate and take that lead hook right to the bicep, elbow, all that good stuff. Good, and that is the lead hook catch. Now catching can also be used in hooks. It's gonna be a little higher, but it's very important here that we don't expose our belly too much. So if I'm throwing a lead hook to the head, he's gonna catch it, but he's gonna keep his elbow down nice and low. So we have to kind of risk-reward analysis here. If someone's throwing high, heavy hooks that are going to the back of the head, I wanna make sure that I can't let him wrap it around. So we like to talk about answering the phone. So when he's doing that catch, he's gonna answer the phone, okay? The punch is coming, he's gotta answer the call. So he's making sure to bring that up nice and high, boom, blocking that hook. Now the elbow is gonna come up a little high. I might be able to fake him out and go for that hook and just come with the uppercut, which is why he's gonna keep his elbow in so he can make that last second adjustment to roll with the catch on the uppercut. Now another really important thing here to keep in mind is a lot of fighters, a lot of athletes are gonna start by trying to catch it too far out. So if he throws his hand out there and tries to catch it, I'm gonna end up hitting him in the head with his own punch. And that don't feel good either. So let's show some bad examples of the catch. Boom. You see how he's going too high, too early. Now what I'm gonna do when I see my fighter doing this, I'm gonna change it to a jab right there in the middle, and he's toast. So when a catch is done well, we'll show a few examples. Boom. Now, if I fake him out and go jab, his glove is still right there to protect his face. So the catch is actually a very tricky maneuver to pull off in a real fight. And as I said, if you do a lot of rounds, a lot of sessions with mitts, it's gonna start rattling the brain a little bit if I'm popping my fighter really hard with these pads. So just make sure you're taking it easy on your fighter, really teaching that good form, maybe sneaking in a couple extra shots just to make sure everything's in alignment when you're throwing these catches. And that is the basic concept of the catch. We'll catch you in the next video. All right, in this video, we're gonna discuss the concept of the pull. This is one of my personal favorites. Now, it does take a little bit more advanced timing and technique to really pull off the pull in a live scenario, but we're gonna discuss it anyways, because after you guys have had so much fun with the slips and the rolls, the pull is just a really clean one to stitch together some good looking mitt flows. So what we're doing is looking at leaning back and returning that shot. So let's talk a little bit about the pull. We're gonna square up to each other in our fight stance right here. Now if I'm the approaching fighter, now if I'm the offensive fighter and I'm throwing a lot of straight punches and I'm trying to keep him in range, the pull is all about him trying to pull me into his counter shots. So when we're throwing the pull, what I'm gonna have him do is slightly step back with his right foot, and then he's gonna just load that right leg up so he's ready to come bounce back with that hard return shot. Now in a real life situation, it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna throw my jab, I'm gonna ask him for the pull, and he's gonna try to keep his nose just outside of reach of my punch and return fire right after I'm done with my punch. So I'll throw a couple examples of this right here so you can see the mechanic that's happening. I want you to pay attention to his rear leg here. We're gonna go for the jab pull. So here we go, the pull, back, and come back with the cross. Good. Pulls, boom, good. So we're gonna go super slow, and you're gonna see how his eyes are gonna stay focused on my lead mitt here, and he's gonna follow just an inch away from the mitt. We don't wanna over exaggerate this. So if there's a bad pull, he could do one of two things. He could start way too early and have his head way too far back. If we do that, now when he comes to throw the punch, I'm already out, I'm already gone. All right, so you don't want to over pull. We want to try to keep it as close to your nose as possible. Now, if he doesn't pull fast enough, and I'm going to go real soft here, if he waits too long, I'm going to end up already doing my damage, and then he's going to be back, and now I'm ready to come forward. So you don't want to pull too early, you don't want to pull too late. You want to keep your eyes on that lead glove, and you're going to do everything you can to stay 1 inch away from that punch as it's extending and as it's retracting. Now he's going to do us a favor and come hard with that too before I even get my jab back to my hand, because I'm going to create a gap. I'm going to have him touch me in the chin here to show you how this works in a real scenario. So if we're squared up and we're fighting and I'm a jab heavy guy and I'm just working him with my jab, he's gonna pull out of that jab and come with a hard two to return. It's gonna look like this. I'm gonna throw the jab, and before I can even bring that jab back to my face, he's gonna come with that hard cross. Right over the top. So when you do a pull appropriately, you're just gonna follow that punch back with the counter of its own. We'll do 3 examples on the mitt with the 2. As the pad holder, I'm gonna hold that 2 a little bit closer to my shoulder to replicate a good target area for him, all right? So we're gonna work on some pulls. We'll do 3. Here we go. Pull. Good, again. Good, one more. Good. And notice how he steps back on that right foot, puts all that potential into his rear leg, and that's a hard cross when he comes back. And that is the concept of the pull. We'll see you in the next video as we discuss more defensive maneuvers. So we've arrived at one of the master defenses called the parry. Now, the parry is very scary. You have to be careful with these. If you do them wrong, you're gonna get hit. So, parry should be saved for after we've learned the other defensive maneuvers. So only after you've mastered the slip and the roll, the situational awareness, the F in fit, the intensity in fit, the timing in fit. Now it's time to talk about parries, which are very driven on timing and technique. When we are parrying the punch, there's a lot of things to look out for here, but in essence, we're trying to misdirect the punch. So if I throw a jab cross at D here, he's gonna parry both punches just to show you how it looks. So we go jab, cross. Good, let's take him to the other angle real quick so you can see this again. Here's the parry. Nice, all right. So a couple things to notice there. What he's doing is misdirecting the punch. When I throw the jab, he's tapping it away. This is now leaving a good hole for him to counter with another jab or even overhand over the top. Let's show you some bad examples of the parry. So this is a common one that people do at first, and that is just overselling the parry. We just want to swat the punch away. We don't want to overextend our hand. I'll show you why in a second, but this is what a bad parry looks like. Good. You'll notice that he's over-exaggerating that swat down, and he's leaving a large hole for me to come with the cross or another maneuver. Another bad habit in overselling the parry is something called a feint. Not something that we'll cover in this course, but if I'm a heavy feinting, aggressive, offensive fighter, I might just sell that jab a little bit and see how he parries. Notice that he's overextending the parry, and then I'm gonna feint, boom, and come right with that. So I wanna make sure when my athlete is doing the parries, that hand just swats it away and comes right back to the chin. Bah, right back, boom. Now if I feint, boom, it's right back there, ready to defend. So that is an example of a bad parry and why you never want to oversell your parry. Now when executing the parry, it's pretty important that you know what side to parry with, and at first this is going to seem counterintuitive. So most fighters, when I'm throwing a jab cross, they're going to have the tendency to parry with the opposite side hand. So if I throw the jab, D's going to show us how he parries with the wrong hand here, which is going to be his jab hand. So I'm going to throw, and he's going to swat that down with his lead hand. Doesn't look so bad, right? But what we're not considering is I have another hand here. So when he parries with that same side, I'm coming right over the top with the cross. This is why it's imperative that we do these drills to teach good habits, so when you're throwing parries in real fights, you have an understanding of what side to throw with. So when I throw my left hand, he's gonna parry with the same side hand, in this case, his right hand. So I throw the parry, he comes down. Now if I come with that fast cross afterwards, he's got his defense there, ready to go. That's gonna work the same on the right side. If he tries to parry my cross with his right hand, I now have a lead hook in the chamber, ready to go. So he wants to look at my shoulders. He can see by my shoulders what punch is coming. If my right starts to move, he gets ready with that lead side parry. If he sees that left coming, he gets ready with the right side parry. So very important that we don't oversell our parries and that we know what hand to throw the parry with.
Yep.
Now another common mistake that we see in the parry is people reaching too far. So in the second module, when we talked about how to properly hold the pads, we discussed chasing the punch versus catching the punch. Same principle applies. A parry is essentially the fighter catching a punch, just like the mitt holder is. So if he tends to come out too far and chase that punch down, or we're gonna show you some bad examples and why it's a bad example. But if I start throwing my punches and he wants to parry, he gets excited and he's gonna start catching that reaching too far. So he's gonna come way far out, too early, exactly, boom. And even if he does good habits and brings his hand right back to his face where it belongs, it's still gonna take a long time to travel. If I'm a fast fighter and I see him doing that, I'm gonna come with that hard too. So I'm here, boom, boom, right away. I'm gonna come with the two because he just doesn't have enough time to bring that hand back from his head. So we wanna keep it at home base. You never wanna go outside of that fight stance. When you're doing your parries, we're gonna keep them nice and tight, right there. Hand doesn't travel too much. Wait for the punch, time for the punch. Now, as we take our athletes to the next level, I'm gonna make him work for that parry just a little bit. I'm gonna sell it a little bit. We're gonna move around, right? I'm gonna maybe show him some feints. I'm here, boom, get it ready. Boom, good, good. Ooh, hey, good. And that is how you properly teach the parry to your athletes.
Yeah, that's good.
Hello recruits, and welcome to the module on Mitt Flow. This is where things get really exciting. We've learned the punch numbering system, we've learned the defensive maneuvers, and now it's time to learn how to stitch it all together to make your own Mitt Flow at home. So I'm back here with Adri, and she's gonna help us through this Mitt Flow journey. See you in the next video where we're gonna talk about putting together basic combos to start your Mitt Flow. Phase number one of Mitt Flow is the basic combination that you want to start things off with. So in this case, we're going to call a basic combo anywhere from 2 to 5 punches. I'm going to show you some really common combinations that are used in boxing, and then just a theory behind how you can stitch them together. So we're going to start with basic combos, leading with the jab, the lead hand. The jab is one of the most important punches in boxing, and it's pretty much gonna start every combination. So we're just gonna show you a couple variations on how you start with the jab. The first combination that we have that you'll see a lot in this module is just a simple jab cross. So here we go. Jab, cross, basic combo number 1. Good, again. Awesome. Good, and you can see when she's done with the cross, she pulls her hand right back to her face. We're always working on retraction with our punches. So another great variation of the jab can be the double jab. This is a really good tool to use when you're starting a combination because it sets that pace out there and it makes people think about not coming in or entering. So the double jab is actually a pretty hard one to work with. A lot of people like to just pitter patter and tap that double jab, but we want to make sure that we're pumping it out there, and Adria here is going to bring that punch almost all the way back to her face before she throws it again. This will allow her to recruit her obliques and her core to turn right in that second jab. So we're going to throw a couple double jabs. Here we go. Double jab. Good. Again. Good. Make sure you're turning your wrist as you punch. Bang, bang. There we go. One more. Pop. Good, and that is the double jab. So we can take it up a notch from there, and we can stitch those two together. We're gonna go double jab cross. Also just a really good basic combination to start your mitt flows with. So combo 1 and combo 2 are just gonna stitch together to make combo 3, which is the double jab cross. Here we go, double jab cross. Good, again, pop, pop. Good. What I'm looking for out of this one is a nice rhythm. That first jab is just a distraction to set up a little harder jab, and finally that hard cross. So it's going to go pop, pop, pop. All right, so we're looking for that da, da, da. All right, here we go. Jab, jab, pop. Good. Pop, pop, pop. One more. Pop, pop, pop. Awesome. And that's how to stitch the lead hand together. Now we're going to talk about some examples of how to lead with the cross or the rear hand. All right, so the first variation, real simple. We're leading with the cross and we're finishing with our lead hand, coming with that hook right afterwards. So the cross hook is a great combination because after we throw a good cross, I'm gonna have you throw a cross and freeze for me. Bang. She's rotated and her shoulder is already loaded up to throw that nice lead hook. So after she throws the cross, what's important here is she's gonna drop her weight back on her rear foot. So when she lands the hook, her heel hits at the same time and her weight transfers to the back. So let's take that cross away for a minute and we'll throw the cross hook. So we go bang, bang, good. Again, elbow up, bang, bang. Good, one more, bang, bang. Good. And that is the cross hook. We can take it up a notch real easy by adding another cross on. Our weight transfer goes forward, backward, forward for that cross again. The cross hook cross is a really good combination for violence and just straight up carnage. So let's throw a nice cross hook cross. Here we go. Again. One more. Good. And that's the cross hook cross. So next we talk about the lead hook. A couple simple basic combos, much like leading with the cross. We're going to start with the hook cross, all about rotation. In this one, she's going to have to load up a little bit first to have that hook ready. So we never want to just throw that lead hook from our neutral stance. We always want to load that punch by kind of rotating and making sure that our shoulders are there, almost as if we're throwing a cross without the punch to come over to that hook, to come right back to the cross. All right, so we're going to go hook cross. Here we go. Pop, pop. Good. Again. Pop, pop. One more. Pop, pop. The hook cross. And guess what? We can take it up a notch by adding another hook at the end. Hook, cross, hook. Here we go. Hook, cross, hook. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah, again. Hey, hey, hey. One more. Hey, hey, hey. Good. And that's the hook, cross, hook. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about uppercuts. So I'm just going to show you a few examples with a rear uppercut. We can basically substitute the cross for a rear uppercut. Now we don't usually want to lead with an uppercut because we're going to be in a little too close, so it's going to be hard to throw other combinations. Now we'll show you an example of one leading with an uppercut, but we're going to show you one that ends with the uppercut. So it's going to be just like the cross hook cross, except for the last punch, I'm going to have her turn it to an uppercut. It's going to be cross hook uppercut. So we're going to go 2, 3, 6. Here we go. 2, 3, 6. Nice. Bop, bop, bop. Good. Again. And this is a fun one because she can really wind up that uppercut. You're going to feel a lot of nice rotation in the uppercut. You're able to sit down and bring it nice and hard. One more good one for the camera. Hey, good. The 2, 3, 6. Now, if we're to flip that on the side, we can easily make this an uppercut lead combo by going uppercut, hook, cross. Now this may work in a real fight scenario because when you throw that first uppercut, even though you're in close, their natural reaction is going to be to back up so you can come with that hook cross right afterwards. So as a mitt holder, I'm going to have to be sensitive to the fact that I have to change my positioning a little bit for her to make sure that she's throwing a nice cross at the end. So I'm going to show you this one in slow-mo. So I'm going to start in pretty close to her here. I'm going to position her where I want her, right? She's going to throw that rear uppercut, the hook, and then the cross. Good. So you can see I kind of lean back a little bit so she has a nice cross. Let me show you what it looks like when I do it wrong on my end. So if she starts with the uppercut, bang, the hook, and I'm right here, bang. Her cross is crowded, she doesn't have full extension, she can't even pivot into it. That's teaching her bad habits, so I want to make sure that I'm being reactive and getting distance correct. So one good clean one, uppercut, hook, cross, here we go. Pop, pop, pop. Good, again, pop, pop, pop. Good, all right, and that is leading with the uppercut. So now that we've covered a bunch of basic 3-punch combinations, we're going to show you how to stitch those together so you can make even longer combinations. I would try to keep it to maybe 5 or 6 punches. Much beyond that, it's going to get a little bit harder for your athlete to remember what's happening. So we're going to use a great example. We had one that was the cross, hook, rear uppercut, and then we had one that was the double jab cross. So we're going to start with that double jab cross, and we're just going to stitch those two together, so she's going to go right into the hook uppercut. So the two combos separately are this, double jab cross, and the other combo was cross, hook, rear uppercut. Now I'm going to stitch it together by making those crosses one, so it's going to be double jab cross, lead hook, rear uppercut. All right, here we go. Double jab cross, hook, upper. There you go again. One more. Good. And that is how you can easily turn a basic combo into 5 or 6 punches. And that is phase 1 for building your mitt flows, is finding that good foundational combo to kick things off. We'll check you in the next video where we talk about some more mitt flow tactics. In this video, we're going to introduce you to the concept of reloads. Now, reloads are when you use the same hand twice in a row. So these are actually pretty complicated maneuvers to pull off correctly. Technically, the double jab is an example of a reload, and in the past video, I had you guys make sure that you're having your athlete pump out that double jab by bringing the hand back to their chin instead of just tapping on the door. It's going to be pretty similar, but in reloads, I like to switch up the punch variety. So we're going to show you some basic reload combos, and once again, how to stitch them all together. So first, we're going to start with my favorite reload, which is the jab to the lead hook. Now this is actually a very complicated maneuver because it's going to have a lot of oblique engagement. So I had to make sure that Adria, after she throws her jab here, she brings it back to that load position for the hook so she can turn her hook over well. If you just try to throw the jab to the lead hook, you're not going to have any load in the hook, and therefore we did not do a reload. So here we are to show you the reload jab to lead hook. So we go jab, reload, hook. Good. Again, jab, hook. Good. Nice. One more. Boom, boom. Good. You can see she has really good rotation when she's bringing back to load up that lead hook. So that's a great reload to start with, the jab, lead hook. Now we can spice that up easy by going into our free hand, which is going to be the right hand. After she throws the jab, lead hook, she's going to finish with a nice hard cross for me. So here we go, jab, lead hook, cross. Bang, bang, bang. Good. Bang, bang, bang. Good. One more. Nice. So moving on, we're going to reloads with the right hand. And this can actually be even trickier. After we throw a cross, it's a really unnatural movement to get back in that load position to throw another cross right away. So we're going to start basic. We're going to go cross, reload, cross. So these can be two really powerful punches. There is going to be a little more of a stutter in this one, so we want to make sure that our athlete here has good defense. After she throws her cross, I want to make sure that she keeps her guard hand nice and high so she can reload and throw that second cross right away. So we're going to start nice and slow. We're going to go cross, cross. Here we go. Cross, cross. Good. Again. Good. A little faster. Good. A little harder. Awesome. And that is the cross reload. Now, as we talked about in phase 1 of the basic combos, we can easily substitute that cross for a rear uppercut. So I'm gonna have Adria here reload from the cross right into a rear uppercut. This one's gonna be nice and fun to pull off for your athlete. So we're gonna go cross, reload, change that angle to go with the rear uppercut. As her opponent, I'm not gonna know what's happening. I'm not gonna see that uppercut coming. So this is a great reload to use. We go cross, rear uppercut. Here we go, nice and slow. Cross, rear uppercut. Cross. And the more she can sell that cross, meaning that her shoulders, her hips are doing the same thing, the less I'm gonna know it's coming. So again, cross, up, good. A little faster, good. Good, one more. Awesome, and that's how to reload with the rear uppercut. We take it to the next level. After she throws the reload uppercut off the cross, she's got her left hand available to turn into that nice lead hook. So we're gonna go cross, rear uppercut, lead hook. Nice and slow, here we go. Cross, up, bang. Good, again. Awesome, one more. Great. So now let's talk about how you can stitch all that together. So we did a couple reloads. We did the jab to the lead hook. We did the cross to the cross. We did the cross to the rear uppercut. So let's just pick a couple to put this all together. I want to make it nice and exciting. So we're going to go jab, reload to the lead hook, cross, reload to the uppercut, and finish with that lead hook again. All right? So we're going to go jab, lead hook, cross, rear uppercut, hook. Nice and slow. We go jab, lead hook, cross, rear uppercut, and hook. Got it? Jab, hook, cross, upper, hook. Good. A little faster. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, a little faster. Bang, 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 bang. You got this. All right, slow it down a little. Here we go. Jab, hook, cross, upper, hook. Good. A little faster. Bang, 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 bang. Good. One good one. Ha, 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 ha. Good. All right, and that's how you can make fun reload combinations to use in your mitt flows. Stay tuned for the next video where we're gonna go into phase 2 of building your mitt flows. Moving on to phase 2 in the mitt flow, we're gonna talk about adding in defense. So make sure that you covered module 4 where we talked all about these defensive maneuvers. We're not going to be covering parries in this particular example, but I'm just going to show you as a mitt holder how we start adding defense into our mitt flows. Now, the defense that we throw is going to be all about what punch the combination ends with. So we're going to keep these punches nice and simple so we can show you the examples. I'm going to start with the jab cross, showing you how to introduce the defense. So I'm going to have Adria here throw the jab cross for me. Bang, bang. Good. So after she throws that jab cross, I'm going to have my left hand available. I'm going to show you by having her pause on that cross. So we're going to go jab, cross, hold. Good. Now my hand is ready to throw a counter. So we're going to first talk about the slips. So after she throws that cross, she's got to slip off to the outside or to her right side and just turn her shoulder to me so she can slip right out of the way. Let's show that a little faster. Jab, cross, slip. Bang, bang, boom. Good. One more. Awesome. And that is how you throw the outside slip. So we can easily turn that into a roll. Now, same concept. She throws the jab cross and freezes. I have my left hand available. I'm going to throw a hook with this hand, and she's going to roll under it. Good. And the more I can get close to her head, the better habits she's going to build. So I don't want to throw rolls all the way over her head because she's not going to have to do much work. I'm coming straight for her eye line, so she has to go right under it. Awesome. Making sure that she's not leaning too far forward. We want to make sure you use your legs to roll under that. So we'll go jab, cross, roll. Boom. Good. Again. Pop, pop, pop. Awesome. Same concept applies to the pulls. Jab, cross, my left hand is available. She's going to pull back and dodge that jab. Here we go. Jab, cross, pull. Good. Jab, cross, pull. There we go. Make sure you kind of step back with your... Okay. Yeah, there we go. Jab, pull. There we go. Jab, pull. Good. Bang, bang. Awesome. And, of course, it still applies to the catch. So if my left hand is available, I'm going to throw that lead uppercut. She's going to catch with her right elbow right here. Jab, cross, catch. Jab, cross, catch. Good. Good. All right, right, now if our combo ends with the lead hand, like the jab or the lead hook, we're gonna have a different hand available. So I'm gonna have her throw the jab, cross, hook, and freeze for me. We go jab, cross, hook. Now my right hand is available. So it's my cross, or it's my rear hook, or my rear uppercut. So if we're going into slips, it's gonna be jab, cross, hook. She's gonna slip to the inside or to her left. So jab, cross, hook, slip. It looks like this. Slip, slip. Good, again. We can do the same with rolls. She's gonna roll under my rear hook. Jab, cross, hook, roll. Good, again. And the same with pulls. Jab, cross, hook, pull. Good, again. Nice. Good. And the same with the catch. This time it's gonna be my rear uppercut, and she's gonna catch it right on the elbow right there for me. All right. Jab, cross, hook, catch. There we go. One more. Awesome. And that is how you introduce defense into your mitt flows, keeping in mind the combination that you're choosing and the hand that you have available. Of course, we can deviate off of some of these rules, but for the purpose of this recruits course, I want you guys to keep that basic rule in mind whenever you're adding defense in to your combinations. Catch you in the next video. Thanks, Adrian. We're here in phase 2. We've learned how to add defense into our mitt flow. Now it's time to change the complexion of our mitt flows by changing levels. So I can easily make these combinations level changes by going to the body and the head in these examples. So here's a great combo to use for changing levels, but of course you can use this with any combo. So we're just gonna do a pretty basic combination, spicing it up using level changes and adding in just a defensive maneuver there. In this case, we're gonna go with the 10, the 3-2-3. She's gonna roll under and finish with a nice 7 or that liver shot, shovel hook to the body. So we're gonna start out nice and slow with the 10. Boom, she goes to the body, I react, hook to the head. Cross to the head, hook to the head, my roll comes, and she throws that lead hook to the body right afterwards, and that's the combo. She's going body, head, body. We're adding in defense, we're adding in variety of punches, changing levels, getting different looks. Let's show them a couple times a little faster. We go cross, hook, roll, body shot. Good, we're gonna reset, reposition. Here we go. Boom, bop, 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 roll. Good, again. Good. And that's a great example of how you can change levels. You can use this with any combination. We could do the double jab cross by starting with the 9 or the jab to the body. So let's go jab to the body, boom, jab to the head, cross to the head. Good, again, jab, boom, cross. Awesome. After that, we can add a slip cross in it. So she's gonna go jab to the body, jab to the head, cross, slip out of the way, cross, return, a little faster. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, here we go. Ish. Hey, good. Again, ha. Hey, good. I threw that one at her, but you can see how easily we can change these combos from a simple 1-1-2 to a much more complex combination by adding those level changes in. Catch you in the next video where we're gonna talk about phase 3 and finish how to put your mitt flows together. So we have made it to phase 3 of how to build your mitt flow. In this video, we're going to talk about how to complete your mitt flow by adding counters after your defensive maneuvers. So we've already talked about how to add defense after your basic combo, and now we're going to talk about returning with the counter. There are a few preset counters that you can already choose with your athlete. For example, after the slip, they can return with a cross hook cross every time. That way I can just call slip and they return nice and fast. But in this case, and for building our mitt flow, we want to talk about how to chain together 2 basic combos. We're going to use our 2 basic combos as double jab cross and cross hook cross. I'm going to show you how it looks by adding a few of the common defensive maneuvers to chain these 2 together. So once again, it's double jab cross and cross hook cross. We're going to stitch that together by adding a slip in between. So nice and slow. Adrian's going to throw the double jab cross. I return with my jab, which she slips, and then returns with that cross hook cross. Awesome. It's going to look exactly the same if I throw a roll. I'm going to use that hand that's available to me. So if she just threw the double jab cross and we freeze on the cross,
I have my left hand available, so this is the hand I'm going to throw with, whether that's for the slip or the roll. In this case, I'm going to return the hook. She's going to roll under, and now she's ready to throw the counter shot with 2, 3, 2. Perfect. This could also work with the pulls. Double jab cross. She pulls back, returns the cross hook cross. Double jab cross, pull, cross hook cross. There you go. And that is the basics of how you add the counters in to your mitt flow. Now there may be some examples where your two basic combos don't align right. For example, if you end with a cross or your rear hand and the next combo starts with your lead hand, it's going to be difficult to see how that stitches together. So let's change our combos up just a little bit. We're going to go double jab cross, and then we're going to go hook cross hook. Okay, so double jab cross, hook cross hook. So now I'm going to add that slip in between, and we're going to see where we get in trouble. So nice and slow, double jab cross. She slips, and now she has to return with the hook cross hook, but she's in no position to throw that lead hook. She's going to have to rotate extra to throw the hook cross hook. Now, of course, this can be pulled off. There's going to be a little stutter step there. We can do it, but the better way to transition from your rear hand to your lead hand is by doubling up the defense. So I can throw 2 slips in this case. In my instance, as the pad holder, I'm throwing the jab cross, and she is throwing a double slip. So here we go, double jab cross, slip, slip, hook, cross, hook. And here are some examples of how you can chain defensive maneuvers together. By this point, you guys should be having a good clue of what you can do with your own mitt flows. But if I want to transition once again from that rear side to lead side, I don't always have to throw the double slip. I can make her slip and then roll, or even slip and pull. But let's just show you how the slips and rolls play together. So we're going to throw that same combo, double jab cross, slip, roll, hook, cross, hook. So we go double jab cross, slip, she's going to roll under, and she's in position, hook, cross, hook. Great, and that would be how you can stitch together rolls and slips. We have arrived at the end of the mitt flow journey, putting it all together. So Adrian and I here have created our own mitt flow masterpiece. And we're gonna show you in real time what this looks like, following the parameters that you guys will have to use. That is 12 punches and 3 defensive maneuvers at minimum. You guys are gonna score extra points for variety. We're gonna take you nice and slow through this journey. In our mitt flow, we've chosen for phase 1, our basic combo, the double jab cross. So phase number 1, our basic combo is gonna be the double jab cross. My left hand is available, I'm gonna return the jab. Phase 2, she's gonna throw that outside slip. And phase 3, her counter is gonna be the cross hook. Bang, and from this point, we're flowing. She's gonna roll under my rear hook, return the hook, cross hook. From here, we're gonna go into the catch maneuver. I'm coming right for her, and she's gonna trigger to that uppercut, hook, cross. She pulls out of the way, comes with the cross, and finishes with the double jab to make sure she's finishing off her lead hand. So we're gonna show you what this looks like in real time. Adrian and I are gonna just freestyle flow on this one for you guys. Any mistakes that happen, you guys are gonna see. Any calls, any cues that I have, you guys are gonna hear for how we put together this mitt flow. We're gonna start slow, and we're gonna get a little faster as we go. So here we go, double jab cross, slip, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch, upper hook, cross, pull, 2, 1, 1. Much better. Here we go. Double jab, slip, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch. 6, 3, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1. Bang, bang. We need that catch from here, all right? Here we go. Double jab, cross, slip, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch. Boom, hook, there we go. Roll. 2, 1, 1. Beautiful job. Here we go. Let's pick it up a little bit. Double jab, cross, slip, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch. Upper hook, cross, pull. 2, 1, 1. Bang. Nice, reset. Good, here we go. Double jab cross, slip, cross hook, roll. Good, double jab cross, slip, cross hook.
Oh shoot,
Good.
sorry.
Anytime she messes up, I'm gonna start her from the top. Here we go, double jab cross, slip, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch. Lean into it, there we go. Uppercut, hook, cross, pull, 2, 1, 1. Good, from the beginning. Double jab, cross hook, roll, hook, cross hook, catch. There you go, 6, 3, 2, 4. 2, 1, 1. There you go. You need a good one. Here we go. Double jab cross. 1, 2, 3. Roll. Hook cross up. Catch. Here we go. Bang, bang, pull. Bang, bang, bang. Nice. Good one. Here we go. Slip, cross hook, roll. Hook, cross hook. Catch. Boom, 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 pull. Hey. If I notice my intensity's getting a little too much, I'm just gonna slow it down a little bit. That's my job as the pad holder. Here we go. Double jab cross. Slip, cross hook, roll. Hook, cross hook. Catch. 6, 3, 2. Pull. 2, 1, 1. Nice. Again. Slip. Cross hook. Roll. Hook, cross hook. Catch. Pull. Let's get a good one. You got this. Slip. 2, 3. Roll. Hook, cross hook. Catch. 6, 3, 2. Pull. 2. Bang, bang. Nice job. And that is our Mitt Flow Master Course. Just a really simple example of what you guys can put together for your own Mitt flows. I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with. Make sure that you submit your flows by tagging us at Mittfit Academy. See you guys in the next module. Hello recruits, and welcome to the Mittfit Combo System. In this module, we're going to go over the Alpha Combo System. Now, this is a very advanced concept of a combo system, which will allow you to take 8 basic 3-punch combos with a few simple cues and commands that will help you make an unlimited string of combinations that you can use to create your own Mitt flows. So Austin and I are going to go through all of the 8 combinations in this system, and then we'll break down each command and show you exactly how to apply this to your everyday sessions. So with no further ado, let's get into the Mittfit Alpha Combo System. So here we are with Coach Austin to go over the Mittfit Alpha Combo System. Now this combo system contains 8 3-punch combinations, and it's designed for you to be able to easily link them together. So all of the even numbers are going to start with the rear hand or the cross or the right hand if you're a right-handed athlete. And all of the odd numbers in this combo system are going to start with the lead hand, such as the jab, the lead hook, or the lead uppercut. So let's get right into the system and go over all 8 combinations in the Mittfit Alpha system. So combination number 1, we're starting with that lead hand. It's going to be one of the most fundamental combinations in boxing, and that's going to be the jab, cross, hook. Let's get into it. Combo 1, jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. Again. One more time. And that is combo number 1, the jab, cross, hook. And moving on to combination number 2 in the Alpha series. This one is going to be all straights. We're going to start with our rear hand. So any even number in the combo system is always going to start with that rear hand. For combination number 2, we're going to be doing the cross, jab, cross, or the 2-1-2. This is a really nice combination to kind of take the opponent off rhythm. It's not one that you see very often, but it can be very effective by throwing 3 straights right back to back. So we're going to go 2-1-2. Here it is, combo number 2. And that is combination number 2 in the Mittfit Alpha Combo System. So moving on to combination number 3, we're back on the lead hand, and we're going to start going into the hooks and straights together. We're going to start with the lead hook, we're going to go for the cross, and then finish with the lead hook, or the 3-2-3. So combination number 3 in the Alpha Mittfit Combo System is going to be the hook, cross, hook, or the 3-2-3. Here we go. And that is combo number 3 in the Alpha system. Moving on to combination number 4, and we're back on the rear hand. We're going to mirror what we just did in combination number 3. We're going to go straight, hook, straight. So we're going to go cross, hook, cross, or the 2-3-2. This is combination number 4 in the Mittfit Alpha Combo System, the 2-3-2. More. Great, and that's combination number 4 in the Mittfit Alpha system, the cross hook cross, or the 2-3-2. All right, we've reached the halfway point. We're at combination number 5, and now we're gonna start leading in with those hooks, okay? So we just did combination number 4, which was an even number, starting off the rear hand or the right hand in an
orthodox fighter's case. So now we're moving back onto the lead hand, and we're moving up to the hooks in the series. This one's gonna be hook, hook, uppercut, leading with his lead hand. So it's gonna be the 3, 4, 5. So here we go, combination number 5, hook, hook, uppercut. Great one for fighting in close. We're going to be infighting this whole time. So as a pad holder, I'm trying to smother him. So I'm going to show you what it looks like one more time. I'm staying nice and close. I'm going to come in here. We're going to go 3, 4, and I'm going to stay in 5. So we got that uppercut. I'm standing nice and close to make sure he's really digging those shots into the body. This is a really good one for power punchers. As a pad holder, you want to make sure that you're ready. Make sure you're holding those nice and strong. Now, if you have a particularly strong fighter, I'm going to show you a variation. Try to make this a little bit easier on your hands, and that's doubling up the pad for the uppercut. So we're going to go 3, 4, 5, but this time, after he throws that 4, I'm just going to add my hand on top for a little bit of extra support. So we're going to go a little bit slower, a little bit harder, okay? So we're going to go 3, 4, and then 5. Good, again. One more. Good, you can see how me doubling up my hands gives a little harder target for him. It's gonna make him punch through that uppercut a little bit more, and it's gonna save my wrist just a little bit for when I got them heavy hitters on here. And that is combination number 5. Combination number 6, we're back to the rear hand. We're still going with the hooks, pretty much just the opposite of combination number 5. We're gonna go rear hook, rear uppercut, or 4, 3, 6, right? So we're gonna go here, rear hook, lead hook, rear uppercut. Good, again. Go faster. One more. Good. And again, if he's a power hitter, I can double up on that uppercut by simply recruiting my other pad. So we're gonna go 4, 3, 6. I'll double up the pad for the uppercut. So we go 4, 3, 6. Good, again. That is combination number 6 in the Alpha Combo system. So we have 2 combinations left in the Alpha Mitt Fit system, and we're moving on to leading off the uppercuts. So we're going on to combination number 7, which is an odd number, meaning we're going to start with the lead hand. So in this case, the lead uppercut. So we're going to go upper, upper hook. We're going to go lead uppercut, rear uppercut, lead hook, also known as the 5, 6, 3. So here we go. Combination number 7, 5, 6, 3. Good. And now that we're getting really in close and doing these power shots, these hooks and these uppercuts, we talked about doubling up for the uppercut. Something we can do on the hook as well. I'm just going to show you a little technique that you can do when he's got that hard lead hook coming. So he's going to throw those first 2 uppercuts nice and slow for me. We're going to go 5, 6, and now he's already starting to wind up for that hook. I know it's coming, so I can actually just take this pad off of the 6 and double up for that hard hook, boom, that he's going to slam in for me. So I'll show you that a little bit faster. So we're going to go 5, 6, 3. Good, again. That is how you add a little more power and intensity into the combination, right? Sure. Let's go. Here we are at the final combo in the Alpha Combo system, and we're going to finish off with the number 8 in the combo system, which is on the rear hand, also in the uppercut series. So we're going to start with the rear uppercut, lead uppercut, and then finish with that rear hook. This is a nice heavy combination. It's going to start with the power shot, end with the power shot. So we're going to go upper, upper, rear hook. Let me show you. Good, again. More. More. Good. So as we discussed in the Mitt Fit punch numbering system, the number 4 could also be the overhand right, This is a good combination to start introducing that overhand. So we're gonna modify that combo number 8 by finishing with the overhand right. So it's gonna go rear uppercut, lead uppercut, and now the overhand right. Perfect again. Bop, bop, bop. Good. Good. This one's particularly effective for cutting angles and getting over counter shots. When he's throwing those uppercuts, let's say if I react by throwing a jab over, so he's gonna do these uppercuts, bang, bang. If I throw the jab, he can come right over the top with the overhand right. So it's just a good little variation or a play on combo number 8 that you guys can throw in, and that is making the 4 into the overhand. So that is combination number 8 in the Alpha combo system. All right, y'all, there you have it. That was the Alpha system in the Mitt combo system. We're gonna talk to you a little bit more about some commands that you can add on to these simple 8 combos to make them even longer and more exciting combinations that you can add into your everyday Mitt flows. We'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for checking us out. All right, recruits, and welcome back. We're gonna get into the commands that we use in the Mitt combo series. I'm gonna use the Alpha system that we just went over for some examples of these commands. The first command I'm gonna talk to you about is the front command. Then we're gonna go into the back command, and finally we're gonna finish off with the flip command to teach you how to make these simple combos even longer, more complex combos by introducing just one simple call. So for the front command, I'm essentially just asking my athlete to repeat the first 2 punches in the combination. I'm going to show you some examples of what that looks like. We're going to start off with combo 1 in the Alpha system, which was the jab cross hook. So when I ask him for combo 1 with the front command, I'm essentially asking him for the jab cross hook. It's going to look like this. Combo 1 front. Again. That's combination number 1 with the front command. So combination number 2 was the 2-1-2. If I say combo 2 front, I'm asking for the 2-1, 2-1-2. It's gonna look like this. Awesome. So you can see just by adding that one simple command, it adds on 2 extra combinations, and now we're starting to string together a lot longer combos. It's gonna do a lot more burn, a little more cardio for our athlete. This can translate to any combination. So let's just go right to that last combination in the Alpha system, which was combo number 8. Looks like this. One more time. Combo 8 was upper, upper, hook. So if I say combo 8 with the front command, I'm asking to repeat those 2 uppercuts. It's gonna look like this. Do it again. One more. Do it again. One more. Awesome. And this command doesn't work only for the Mitt combo system. It can work for any combination that you guys create. So for example, let's just make up a combo off the cuff. We're gonna go with double jab cross hook. Let me just show you that real quick. Double jab cross hook to practice. Do it again. Double jab cross hook. Good. Now if I want to introduce the front command to that one, it's going to be double jab, cross hook. There'll be a little stutter on this one so we can reset the double jab, but I'm just going to show you how the front command can work with any combination. So here we go. Double jab, cross hook. Again. We're going to use a jab, cross, hook, cross. Pretty basic 4-punch command, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with the front command. So let's just practice the combo, jab, cross, hook, cross. Bang, one more. Now if I give him that same combo, but I say front, I'm going to ask him to repeat those first 2 punches 2 times. It's going to look like this. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Do it again. Awesome. And that's a great way of how you can use the front command in your everyday sessions to make your combo string just a little bit longer. Moving on to the second command, we're going to talk about the back command. And the back command is essentially the reverse of the front command. When I ask for the back command, I'm asking my athlete to repeat the last 2 punches in the combination. So we're going to go back to combo number 1 in the Alpha series, which was the jab, cross, hook. And and I'm gonna ask him for combo 1 back. So I'm asking for jab, cross, hook, cross, hook. It's gonna look like this. Jab, cross, hook, again. Nice. We can do that again with any combination. Let's just go into combo number 8 one more time in the alpha system, which was the upper hook with the back command. So I'm asking for upper hook, upper hook. All right, it's gonna look like this. Upper hook, upper. Good, again. Oh, my bad, again. Upper hook. One more. Nice. And that is how you use the back command in the alpha series. Once again, we can use this with any combination that you guys create. We'll go back to the example that we used when we were introducing you to the front command, the jab, cross, hook, cross. This is what it's gonna look like with the back command. Jab, cross, hook, cross, hook, cross. Good. And I can easily stitch these two commands together. Going back to that example, the jab, cross, hook, cross. If I say front, back, I'm gonna ask them to repeat both the first 2 punches and the second 2 punches. And now we're in the 8-punch territory. We took a simple 4-punch combination and we made an 8-punch combo by introducing 2 simple commands by saying front, back. So here we go, the jab, cross, hook, cross, front, back. Good. And that's how you stitch together the front and the back command. Use these commands in your everyday combos as well as the alpha combo series to make the combinations even more dynamic, longer, and just a little more challenging for your athlete. We'll see you in the next lesson where we're going to talk about one of my favorites, the flip command. So the third command that we use in the Mitt combo series is going to be the flip command. This is one of my favorites. We're going to introduce you to the concept of reloads. So the flip command is similar to the back command in that I'm asking my athlete to repeat the last 2 punches, but this time I'm going to have them repeat them in reverse order. So going back to combo number 1 in the alpha system, which was the jab, cross, hook, when I ask him for the flip command, I'm asking him for the jab, cross, hook, hook, cross. I'm going to show you real slow what this looks like. So we're going to start with combo 1. It was jab, cross, hook. We're going to go jab, cross, hook. Now I said flip. He's going to reload, throw that hook again, and then come back down to the cross. So a little faster, jab, cross, hook, flip, hook, cross. So combo 1, flip. Here we go. Again. More. Again, the flip command can be applied to almost any combination, especially in the alpha series. If we were to go on to combo number 2 in the alpha series, which was the 2-1-2, if I'm asking for the flip command, that's going to be 2-1-2, 2-1. It's going to look like this. 2-1-2, 2-1. All right, that's a fun one, yeah? Alright, so the flip is a great command that you can use to add some extra rhythm, some subtleties, and some reloads in your everyday combos. And again, I just want to show you how this works with almost any combination you can do. We're going to go back to that simple example that we used when showing you the front and the back command, the 1, 2, 3, 2. If I ask him for that with the flip command, it's going to be the 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. This one's going to be fun as well. Let's take a look at what it looks like. We're going to do our combo with the flip command. 1, 2, 3, 2, flip. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2. Good. And that is how you use the flip command in your everyday combinations. You can use these with any of the series that we have in the Mitt combo systems, especially the alpha system that you guys just learned. But I want to encourage you guys to try to use the flip command in your everyday combinations to make your Mitt flows even more exciting. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Can't wait. We'll see you soon. All right, recruits, we have made it to the end. You guys got to see how to hold the pads properly. You got to see the Mitt punch numbering system, defensive maneuvers, counters, how to put together combinations, and stitch together your own Mitt flow, and then we introduced you to the Mittfit combo system. By now your head should just be spinning with all sorts of tools that you can use to make your own exciting, dynamic Mitt flows. I can't wait to see what you guys have. After you're done with this course, there'll be a really quick quiz to make sure that you understand all of the concepts that we covered. You will also be required to submit that Mitt flow to us. And after that, you'll get awarded your badge and officially be a Mittfit cadet. In future courses, we'll really up your boxing and Mittwork game and get you to the next level in the Mittfit Academy. Stay tuned for more information and check us out on Instagram at Mittfit Academy for more tools to add to your arsenal.